right, this episode of Jocks and Jills, as always, is brought to you by Shark Ninja, Shark Beauty, Shark Home, Ninja Kitchen. Tessa, this week, saving my butt in the Shark Ninja world, has been the Ninja Crispy. I know we're going to do our Spicy Tendy segment in a bit.
Yes.
Okay, I've been an air fryer girl for a minute. The thing that rattles me about air fryers, though, is that sometimes they're hard to clean. Like, first you got to clean the basket, and then you got to clean, like, the plastic part that it sits in. The Ninja Crispy goes entirely in the dishwasher, and it makes my life so much better. You know how much I feel, like, I do not feel any kind type of way about doing the dishes. And the Ninja Crispy has completely taken that out of the game, cooks everything, crisps everything, and then you could toss it in the dishwasher.
Legit, that's the single most greatest thing. It's music to my ears. And also, I was not an air fryer, people. I know. Am I archaic? Yes. I am not cool. I'm very old and out of touch. And apparently, my life has been changed because I literally told you, I was like, I think I'm going to air fry some today. And you were like, I am so excited for you. Everything's about to change. And it has. Literally, right before this, I air fried some hash browns for Buckles and I, just because I felt like using the air fryer. I feel like I air fried broccoli last night, a little bit of garlic. Like, I am on an air frying tear. I just legit use the air fryer. That's it.
Oh.
I'm just... every other appliance in my house is like, hey, we're over here. I'm like, no, I got the double stacked Ninja air fryer over here. I'm double stacking. I got 2 baskets double stacked. Do you understand? I could basically cook like 6 meals all at one time.
You could have Christmas dinner in the air fryer, dude. Like, that is serious real estate.
That should be a challenge. Hey, for
Christmas
Easter?
dinner in the air fryer. I feel like that's something you would do.
I would tell nobody.
No. But I feel like you'd pull it off.
But at the end, while people were taking bites, I'd be like giving them the look, like, And then when everyone was done and satisfied, I'd be like, damn straight, who wants some cookies that I baked in the air fryer as well?
Absolutely. Shark Ninja, guys, for all your holiday or home needs, proud founding partner of the PWHL.
And if you aren't on the air fryer bandwagon, come join me. This is fun.
All right, a note before we begin. We recorded this podcast Thursday morning, so we'll touch on Boston, Ottawa on Tuesday. And with that, let's get into it, Tessa. Episode 26 of the Jocks and Jills podcast. We both made it home. Spoiler alert, we're no longer in Edmonton. We made it out. We hung up. Like, we stopped the recording on our last podcast. We got in the car, and we drove to Calgary. It was a sunny day. It was
beautiful.
Freaking cold. It was
neither of us
cold.
Had sunglasses.
It was
neither
minus 30. Bright as
we were
can be.
Squinty faces.
Because you and I were planning to fly into Edmonton at night, go into the rink all day, and then fly out of Edmonton that night.
That evening.
There was no sunglasses involved. You and I are both sunglasses people, and we were without sunglasses in our little tiny car. I'm not a tiny car person either, especially when I'm driving on the highway. I like to be off the road in like an SUV or a truck or most obviously my Jeep. But we were just riding low from Edmonton to Calgary in that little thing.
We basically rode a go-kart from Edmonton to Calgary. And the worst part was, like, we checked in with the guy and we're like, hey, like, it's just us driving today. It was family day.
Good point.
Nothing else was open, just us. He's like, I got your car here. And it's like, dude, you couldn't have given us an upgrade.
He knew who I was. That's how we knew there was not a single other reservation that day. I walked up to the desk and he's like, oh, you Julia? I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. I'm the only one who booked a car to go to Calgary today.
He gave us the smallest little mini car in the history of the world.
Couldn't upgrade us. Couldn't give us a little. And I will say, though, the time that our tire popped, the last time that you and I rented a car, we did get a free upgrade, though. So maybe it's a bad omen for us.
That's fair. Regardless, we made it to Calgary. Shout out to Cassie for housing us while we waited for our flight. We're just like, hey, we're driving to Calgary. She's like, oh, well, you know, my daughter has hockey today and we're doing all this, but you guys are welcome to stop by. I'm about to work out. We're like, cool. We're 5 minutes from your house.
Yeah, we'll be there. We picked up burgers from that great spot.
Peter's Diner?
Peter's Diner. Yeah, that was fire. That was one of your old stomping ground spots.
Oh, hell yeah.
When,
the milkshakes there, Julia. Just go on. Just explain how that changed your life.
I know, but I'm forgetting a word right now. When you would centralize in Calgary, that was your old stomping grounds. The milkshake was amazing. It was like so thick and it was minus 30 and I could barely pull it through the straw. And it was like the creamiest, most vanilla-y milkshake I've ever had. The sauce from Peter's, the burger sauce. I feel like that's how you judge a burger place. Burgers to me, like, burgers are always kind of good. Like, as
Yeah.
long as it's got some juice to it. Some people are into the the patties, the flat patties, the smash
Smash
burgers these
burgers.
days. I'm more of a thick, juicy burger kind of girl, but
Are you?
I agree there's a time and a place for a smash burger. But I feel like what really differentiates burger places are their fries and their burger sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter's was
100%.
both 10 out of 10.
100% 10 out of 10. Their fries are like the skinny, small little ones, but like real potatoes, like not like a fake potato that you're like, how did they make this? You know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah,
this is a real potato cut
100%.
very skinny, and it is very tasty.
I can't believe you're
Yeah.
thanking Cassie and Brooke for like housing us and not for anything else.
Well, okay. So
Okay,
I
we'll
was
get to
going to
that part
get
of
to
the story.
that. I
Because
was going to get to that.
wait, we're not. You're right. I ruined everything because we're not going in chronological order. At what point did we see? And first of all, we want to just say we're thinking of everyone who was on that Delta flight that
Oh my
touched down in
gosh.
Pearson and flipped over. My heart was in my ass looking at that footage. Like I
I
cannot
know.
believe that happened. I'm so happy everyone's okay. I don't even. So I think that we saw that footage like while you and I were driving from Edmonton to Calgary, right? Or did we
Yeah,
see it when we were at
correct.
Cassie's already?
No, we saw it prior.
Cause we're driving to Cassie's and we're like, by the
We
way,
saw
can
it
you make up
right.
the guest bed? Because I don't
Yeah.
think we're getting out of here tonight.
We literally got it. We got the notification right when we like hit Calgary basically, and we were driving
Right.
to Peters, and I was calling my buddy who worked for Air Canada, and he was giving us the lowdown
Right.
on like us probably not getting home, and he was going to figure out what landing strip the incident happened on, to see, you know, how backed up stuff was going to be. So we basically called Cass. We're like, we're probably going to come maybe just eat hamburgers, but also we might be joining you to your daughter's hockey game, and as well sleeping over and having a time with
I
you.
was getting
So
comfy on the couch. I have to
yeah,
say, I was settling
I
in.
was
I could have
eyeing up
stayed
her
there if we
wine
had to.
cellar. I was like, what are we getting into tonight? What do you got in
Yeah.
there? Who, like, what are you willing to share? Anyways, in all of that, Julie and I are like, okay, oh my gosh, what's another way to get home? And Cassie joked, like, just start driving now, essentially.
My dad said the same thing on the phone. He was yelling to us before, like right as soon as we saw that airplane.
He wanted
was
us to
saying,
drive.
Just keep driving, girls. He didn't see what we
If,
were driving. I don't
if
know
it wasn't
he
a
would have
go-kart,
recognized it.
I would have done it, but we were driving a go-kart. Anyways,
Yeah.
so then we're like on our computers, like, okay, are we delayed? I'm calling the airline because I'm always on the phone with the airline.
Sorry, wait. Can
Saying
I
like,
say one more funny thing that happened that we kind of forgot about? When you and I booked this random flight out of
mhm.
Calgary the night before, you and I are both on our laptops. We're locked in. We're like the spy kids. What flight will we book? And Tessa finds this flight. It's 5:15 out of Calgary. She's like, hop on, quick, book it. Don't let anyone beat us. I obviously have a little bit of an online shopping problem, so my credit card is saved to my laptop. Tessa had to walk across the room and actually input her credit card information. And as such, I booked the last seat on the 5:15 flight. So I was like sick to my stomach. Tessa's trying to get home to her family. I'm trying to get home to like my wiener dog and to sit on the couch all day. Like you're actually trying to have a legitimate family day. And I steal the last seat on the 5:15 flight. You took that on the chin though, like that.
I
We were
got on
both
the
like,
6:30.
oh my
I
God.
didn't care. I was like, don't care. What's an hour? I'm getting home at 11:30 at night or
Yeah.
12:30. Either way, I'm not seeing my kids and my husband's passed out. I'm going to have a nightcap when I walk in the door. I'm going to call it a day. Regardless, we booked those flights. So then we're at Cassie's. We're on our computers again, trying to be spy kids and solve the world's problems.
Yeah.
And
We're like looking at flight trackers. They're all going in different directions.
were
We're
flight
acting like we
tracking.
work at air traffic control.
yeah, I was an air traffic controller for a hot minute. And so with all of that, we're like, you know what? Actually, we looked at the time. We're like, we are going to be late. Like, we still have to return this car. We got to go through security.
Because
Like,
I just kept expecting the text that my flight was canceled or delayed, and it just didn't come.
we might miss our flight. So I'm still on hold waiting for a flight agent to pick up about my WestJet flight. I
My
would
flight,
like to
by
know
the
if
way,
I
because
should
at this
book.
point you're not on my flight.
No, I was like, if it's going to get delayed, at least, you know, get me on the midnight, the overnight flight from Calgary to Toronto, because then
Yeah.
all the debris and everything will be cleaned up from the incident with the United flight and whatever. And so the woman's like, no, everything's a go. Do you want me to put you on the 5:15? I'm like, beautiful. I'm on Julia's flight. So we get to the airport, we check in, we're sitting at the gate, we order ourselves a nice cold adult beverage, and doesn't Cassie call me? And I'm like, oh, I must have forgot something there, whatever it is, she can mail it to me. She's like, hey, Brooke just found your wallet on our counter. And I was like, right, yeah. So I can't board this plane. And our flight was boarding in 45 minutes. Cassie lives 20 minutes from the airplane, from the airport. I was like, Cassie, I will literally give you $1 million. Please, for the love of God, drive me my wallet.
I think at that point it was even closer because right after you got off the phone with Cassie, our flight got delayed by like 45 minutes or something like that. And then we were just
then
chilling.
I had an hour. Then I had an hour leeway.
Okay.
So it was great. I wasn't stressing. So she pulled up. Shout out to Brooke.
You sat back down. You're like, I'll finish my rum. It'll take them a while to get here.
What was I going to rush outside for? I had a drink that was there. I didn't want the ice cubes to melt.
Yeah.
Anyways, shout out to Brooke. Thank you for finding my wallet.
You guys
love you. We owe you everything. The second our merch line drops, she's getting one of everything for free. And she's also just going to get a big old hug from me when I see her. And I don't know, maybe a little shopping spree. If she's ever in Toronto, I'll take her out to the outlets and let her pick out a couple items because I owe her huge. Like, let's be honest. Cassie would have never seen that.
Was it Brooke that drove that to you?
Well, Brooke found it and said, Mom, what's this?
Right.
And she was like, oh my gosh. Then Cassie snooped through my purse, probably took a 5 or 10 and then called me. Yeah.
Nice. And then somehow we're sitting at the gate. We're trying to be relaxed. We order wings. I'm editing the thumbnail for the podcast. Tessa's writing the description. And we hear last call for our flight. The airline, like we took a random airline. They don't send text when they board. I'm used to text when I board. Like,
here's my this isn't even an excuse. It wasn't us, guys. There were like 30 other people sprinting. There was a man dragging his daughter holding 2 laptops and like 3 chargers trying to check in and get his He's like, did you hear that? I'm like, I didn't, bro. Like, what is happening right now?
We had to ditch our wings. I was so pissed about that.
We canceled our wings. You very well might have paid for them.
I don't know. I didn't even look at the bill. I honestly, whatever. But I got home and Liam had ordered wings and pizza, so I was really pumped about that.
What a legend.
I had wings on the night still.
Order free delivery wings from Pizza. Was he on it? I love when things are free. If he did this, Liam, I love you forever because I feel like when there's something free or like anything added to like buy one, get one free or like buy this bottle of booze and there's a free little small one on there, I'm like, I have to buy that because you're losing money. I feel like I'm always losing money. And maybe this is just a woman's way of thinking. I have no idea. Math. It is girl math. Pizza's got me hooked. Like, I'm just going to give everybody an excuse this weekend to not make dinner and ditch the dishes because Saturday and Sunday there are PWHL games going on. Ottawa and Montreal play. And I mean, explain to me a better evening with pizza, with free delivery and hockey. Toss some tots in the mix. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. I haven't tried the tots yet, but I will be this weekend because apparently Julia says they're the best thing coming. So I will be getting the creamy garlic tots with pizza, and I'm going to be getting free delivery. Scepters and Victoire are playing. Sorry, it's the Scepters and Victoire this morning. Anytime Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal play, by the way, you get this free delivery over on any orders over $20. So join my movement and stop losing money. And just use the promo code PWHLDEL and get yourself some free delivery, people. It's all the rage. Liam's doing it. I'm doing it.
Yep.
Buckles is doing it.
Any Canadian PWHL team is playing, guys. Make sure you order pizza. Any order over $20 if you use PWHL. You get free delivery on. Before
100%.
we get into our headlines, Tessa,
Julia,
there's one headline. There's one shout out that I'm forgetting about.
What is it?
Actually, we forgot a couple things. You need to talk about Shirley's Girlies very quickly.
I know.
And I need to talk about the hat that I'm wearing. If you are watching video, you can see that I am wearing a very adorable hat that looks like it has like a grumpy wiener dog on it. I talked about did I talk about this on the podcast? I forget if I did. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I forget if I tell you things when we're on the phone or traveling from Edmonton to Calgary or sitting together in an airport or if I tell you them on the podcast. So I apologize to our listeners when I repeat myself. The Sioux Falls Stampede USHL team is awesome. And annually, they have a night where they rebrand to the Fighting Wiener Dogs. And I've been eyeing up this night for a few years. Like, I always see the content. And this year was the first year I actually had a wiener dog. And I think I was in Montreal or something for a game the night of actual wiener dog night. But I shared the wiener dog race on my story. Yeah. And I tagged them and I was like, I'm going to be there next year. Enzo is in training. He will be wiener dog race champion.
My gosh.
Next year. They responded to my story. So nice. They sent me a whole bunch of Fighting Wiener Dog merch. They sent me a couple sweaters. They sent Liam some stuff. They sent a couple hats. Like, how nice is this? Is the coolest logo ever. On the full logo,
up.
it's a wiener dog holding a hockey stick looking all menacing. Like, it's the best thing ever. So shout out to them. I'm really excited about that. And then I was talking about this weekend when we were in Ottawa, and I found out that the Ottawa 67s also have a wiener dog race. So
what?
I don't know. We're gonna have to set up something like maybe on
A
Wiener
tour.
Dog Night in Ottawa, like maybe we can set up like a back to back when the 67s and the Charge play.
Could you
And
imagine?
Enzo could come. Like, it would be electric. So, anyways, I wanted to shout out Sioux Falls for having what I think might be the best logo in hockey.
It's a pretty
on that
sweet hat.
specific night.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a wicked hat.
Pumped about it.
I did get something, but it wasn't a cool hat like that. It was finally the Vision hockey stick that I told you that I needed in order to get back in the win column with my Shirley girlies.
Ooh, and
I cut that thing up. I taped it up. It was rocking and ready to go. My teammate, Baldy, she's like, today's our day. We're not going to get spanked. Because I need to clarify. We still lost this week, which is gut-wrenching, and I'm very upset about it. However, we didn't get absolutely blown out. Like, we were losing like 8-1. Like, what in God, to the point where I told you I was like yelling at people to back check and stuff. Like, what the is wrong with me? Anyways, this week didn't start off great, which was fine. But then we worked our way back. We were like the comeback kids. I was looking at Baldy, like, let's go. I scored a goal, a buzzer beater to pull us within 2-1. That was like the puck. I was behind the net kind of. There was a rebound. I popped out, dropped to a knee, and I popped the water bottle off the top, Julia.
oh
felt so
yeah,
cool.
that's sick.
I felt the coolest. Everyone was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I know. I don't ask me how or why.
Oh,
And
you
don't
can
ask
ask
me
me
to do
how.
it again.
It's the Vision Pro,
Vision
baby.
stick. Vision Pro,
Yeah.
CCM. So getting closer. So I feel like next week is for sure.
You
Next
guys are
week is
chipping
perfect.
away.
I'm on a 3-game losing skid here. I suck. And to the point where I'm literally like, when I get in the locker room, I'm like, no one wants to be on my team. I know it. No one wants
Yeah.
to. I'm on the losing team.
No, come on. You'll
okay.
work your way back in. Everybody knows
And that's
you're a
it.
winner.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, stick-to-itiveness. All right, and with that, that's all of our ridiculous life updates. So let's get into headlines this week in the PWHL. Couple fines handed out this week for the Montreal Victoire. Poulin was fined $500 for roughing on Emmy Facteau. I thought Facteau's commentary after the game when they were very obviously tangled up along the boards was hilarious. That they both
Give us
give
an example.
129%. They both like to give 129%. So
I love it.
obviously they're going hard. Hilarious that Facteau rocks the Pooh PJs and Pooh takes a $500 fine for roughing on Facteau, but it's neither here nor there. Dar Gregg was also fined $250 for boarding on Allison Simpson in the Montreal versus New York game. So with that, let's move on. Boston, New York. What a game this was for Boston. It really seems like Boston knows how to play in New York. This was also the game before. We'll note that Alex Carpenter got back into the lineup, and welcome back to her. We'll talk about that soon. So this one was star-studded, though. Eli Manning was in the building with his daughter. Kelly O'Hara dropped the puck. She was in the building, like such a huge figure in women's sports. So big afternoon at the Prudential Center. This was the game that we were watching, right? When
Yep, at Cassie's house.
Yeah, when everything was just in disarray.
Yep. The Fleet clearly just have the Sirens number and decided to ruin Eli Manning's daughter's day.
Yeah.
You couldn't have just let them have it for Eli's kid. I mean, the Fleet had won every meeting leading up to this one and won this one again. So technically they've won every meeting so far this year. But poor Eli Manning's kid. They were doing the wee-oo. I love when the kids do that. The wee-oo.
Me
saw
too.
them take pictures. The best picture is Eli standing with the camera, taking a picture of all the girls with
He's
their
in
jerseys
full
on.
girl dad mode. It reminded
I
me, there's
know.
like a really similar photo of Tom Brady taking when he was married to Giselle at like the NFL awards, taking a photo of Giselle and like all of her friends at the awards. And it was
That
like,
is
no matter how
hilarious.
many rings you have, you always end up on Instagram husband duty. And that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking of when I saw Eli Manning.
That's so funny. Yeah, but it was cute that they all went there. Thanks to Eli for showing up and showing out and bringing his daughter's team to the game, because that's what it's all about, just inspiring that next gen. And it doesn't have to be a Super Bowl champ that inspires you. It could be, these Olympians that were on the ice, and one of which is heating up Julia. Alina Mueller, my goodness, took her a minute, but gosh, she's back. Mueller finally looks like Mueller. You know what I mean? First 8 games of the season, no points and -6. Last 8, 11 points, 4 goals, 7 assists, +6 rating. I mean, I heard she was talking to Ellen Hughes, getting some video done. I love that. I love Ellen. I love that those conversations are happening. And sometimes it's just someone that's been there and done that has coached their children to success as well. Just to breathe a little confidence and reassurance into yourself, because it's so easy to doubt yourself, especially when you're a stud player like her. And maybe just... find a way to, I don't want to say play the game differently, but maybe adjust your game slightly. And clearly whatever it was that they talked about, or whatever Ellen had to say is working, because my gosh, she's on fire. Her power play goal for Boston, plus an assist on Hilary's first goal. I'm not sure how she didn't get an assist on Hilary's empty net goal, because she made a nice pass along the half wall to the middle, and then they moved it over to Hill. But her pass on Hilary's goal, can I just say that, like, what a boss play. It was a bank pass behind Hilary off the wall. Hilary didn't even skip a beat. She knew exactly what was going on. She turned the jets on, skated up onto the puck, and just like her shot just looked like it was so casual. It was like, I'm going to score now. You know what I mean? When players just have that, where it's like they just wheel in and it's like, and there's my goal. And it's like the goalie's like, oh man. And everyone's like, why was that so easy? That's Hilary Knight, people. And that's exactly what happened on that play. It was a thing of beauty. I loved it. Boston is, I like the way their season is starting to shape up, in a sense that, beginning of the season, they were taking points by gutting out really close games, winning some, losing some in extra time. Their players are finally going that they need to be going. Hannah Brandt, I find, is always in the mix. Ratty's getting goals. Like, it's going good. Ratty got away with one, actually. I wasn't sure if her goal was actually a goal, but worked out. Regardless, I just like the way this team is going, especially, the fact that they've got Hilary Knight playing like Hilary Knight this season. All of Boston fans just have to be so pleased.
Yeah. Hilary Knight is being Hilary Knight lately, so much so that she has... You know what? I'm going to say the absolute honor, because I think it is an absolute honor to be featured on Break It Down with Buckles. Here it is.
Here's a chance for Mueller, has Knight with her. Knight scores!
All right, everybody. It is time for our favorite Friday segment. Give it up. Bring her in. It's Emma Buckles. How you feeling today, Buckles?
What's going on, Julia? How we doing?
I'm great. I'm fired up. Break It Down with Buckles. Who we breaking down today?
We're breaking down one of the greatest of all time, Hilary Knight.
So you know what? She battled through injuries in the first year of the PWHL, and this year she's just been unstoppable. I know you like to break down the specific keys to the game. What's the first thing about Hilary Knight that stands out to you on the ice?
Absolutely. Hilary's on an absolute tear. Obviously was there in Boston to kind of see her battle through injury last year, so it's just awesome to see her thriving and back to her usual self. So the first thing I'm going to break down is Hilary's shot. She has an unbelievable quick release. The amount of time the puck is on her stick and off is milliseconds, and it doesn't allow for any defender or goaltender to fully set, and typically finds its way to the back of the net. So the shot is very quick, but also the heaviness, the strength behind that shot. I've blocked that shot a couple of times, and I'm going to tell you firsthand, it hurt like hell. The heaviness, and then on top of that, the accuracy as well. She picks corners all the time, has all these beautiful highlight reel goals. It's not by chance that Hilary is filling the back of the net this year, and she's on an absolute tear lately.
Yeah, and she's just scoring at a torrid pace this year. The next thing you mentioned is her hockey IQ, and you've had the chance to pick her brain a couple times. You've had the chance to be on the ice with her. Like, what stands out about the way she sees the ice?
Yeah, it's just so interesting. Her eye for the game and her ability to scan and find soft areas of the ice is like none other. It makes her such a dangerous opponent to play against. And I think it's interesting. You're not going to see her frantically skating all over the ice. And, that's some people's kind of style of play, but she's more so like a shark. She's kind of composed and patient, and then she'll jump in at the right times. It's her ability to scan and as well as her ability to read plays that allows her to jump in these right moments and obviously capitalize on the time and space that she creates for herself. And another one of those keys is that, on top of jumping in the right moment, she also gets lost at the right times. She'll kind of confuse defensive coverage, go behind the net, skate up high to a soft area. This is an extra second that you don't want to give Hilary Knight, and she typically finds the back of the net during these moments.
Yeah, one thing you absolutely don't want to do is lose Hilary Knight on the ice, but man, it's hard. She's so elusive. At the same time, though, she's such a huge physical presence. Like, she should be hard to lose. She shouldn't be hard to lose.
Yeah, no, Hilary is one of the physically strongest people, off the ice as well, and you could definitely see that on the ice. She's got a solid core and lower half, and so it's very difficult to move her in front of the net as a defender. And so this is why there's been so many incredible screen and tipping goals for Boston so far this year. And
right.
It's tough to move her off the puck in battles. And so she really leverages this, and it allows her and her teammates to get some grade A chances.
Buckles, appreciate you breaking it down for us, as always. Love it on a Friday. That's Break It Down with Buckles. All right, keep on trucking. Montreal, Minnesota. Do we have to take some ownership for this
Did we do this?
Minnesota performance?
Dude, I thought about it right away. I was like, oh, is that on us? I don't know. But listen,
I
the
feel
title
like
to our
Pooh would
last
blame us.
episode, everybody would. They all would. I'm surprised Ambrose didn't text us right away. The title to our last episode was, Can Anyone Stop Montreal? And, well, Minnesota gave us that answer.
Yeah,
ending
and
their
you know what?
6-game win streak.
Shout out to Minnesota for that, because Minnesota was in a weird place for a minute.
Yeah.
They needed to find their footing, and I feel like they needed to kick a team like Montreal in order to really get that breath of confidence back in their room.
Yeah, and I don't know if they ever doubted themselves, because they just don't have that in their locker room. Like when you've got
True.
players like Kendall Coyne, Schofield, when you've got players like Lee Steckline, players like Claire Thompson, like look at their outlook. Like even Kelly Panic, like they're not going to let the team get down on themselves. It's just going to be like reassurance, like we are good guys. Like let's stick to it. We'll get there. And I don't want to take anything away from what they did. Like they had 2 net front deflection, gritty goals. They played the right way. They did what needed to be done. Shepherd's, Coyne, both great deflections. The fact that it was like depth scoring, it didn't just come from their top line. Everyone was getting in on it. Shutting out Montreal in Quebec for the first time, like what? Fantastic job by them. Just for, not trying to play too pretty or too fancy. They're like, we're grit grinding this thing out and we're getting the win, and that's how we're getting back in the win column. And guess what, ladies? It's all downhill from here. That's what I feel like they did. And even Ken Klee talked about it a little bit. But I don't want to take anything away from that effort, because it was there. And Rooney got a shutout, which was fantastic. She played great. I know I talked about their goaltending last show. She actually looked good. She took that to heart, clearly. I'm not even sure if she heard it, but man, she played fantastic. But Montreal, it looked like, usually there is a player here or there that are having an off day. Not really often ever does it happen that every single player has an off day. I felt like every single player had an off day for Montreal. I was like, what in God's name is going on out here?
Yeah.
They just had a super sleepy second period. I was like, hello? They
And
only
man,
had 3
did you
shots.
see after the game that one poor reporter, and we've all been there having ourselves a bad reporter moment, but the poor individual opened up the question by being like, well, I know you guys tried to score today, and the players just started dying. Stacy and Boo were up there like, yeah, we tried, it just wasn't our day.
Did we? Yeah. Did we try? I
It
don't know.
just
And
did
honestly,
seem like one of
sometimes
those
you just
days for
don't have it.
Montreal, yeah, where they were fighting it. Like, it's not like they weren't trying. It
Yeah.
did seem like they were just having a fight night kind of night.
And that's it. And you know what? Sometimes those games are good to have, because you're like, man, like, how do we even get ourselves out of that? And then you go back and you watch the game tape and you're like, oh, there's a way easier way to do this. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, even Corey said, it was obvious our team didn't have it, but it's not my job to get on them and yell at them and like get on top of them and just give it to them. She's like, it's just like, guys, okay, let's figure this out together. What do we need to do? Let's stay positive. Let's focus on maybe small things like getting the puck in deep. Let's, focus on just picking up sticks in front or clearing out all rebounds, or once we hit the blue line, let's just get it in and hammer their D to tire them out. So hopefully by the third period, we can figure this damn thing out. You know what I mean? I feel like there's those moments. They obviously did not figure it out. However, they're good moments to have leading up to playoffs. And if this team is and wants to be a Walter Cup contender, these games need to happen now, right? Now. This is experience bank.
Yeah, you don't really expect to see Montreal play like that very often. Can't imagine we'll see them play like that many more times this season. And good for Minnesota. That was a great timing for them to have a game like that, I think.
Totally.
Yeah. Let's continue on. Toronto, New York. First of all, welcome back, Alex Carpenter. So good for New York to get her back in. I will say we have a couple. We do our Send It segment on Tuesdays, by the way. If you guys want to send us a Send It segment question, fire us a DM or a tweet or a comment, or honestly message us on Facebook. That's where I've been seeing lots of them. But we had a few people reach out to us and say, how could one single player make this much of a difference on a team? And obviously they're talking about Alex Carpenter and the way the wheels have fallen off New York in her absence. Obviously they weren't able to get the win last night, but Carpenter gets on the board with a goal, connects with Sarah Fillier. That must have made the home fans feel good a little bit, at least.
So happy. Yeah. One player does make a difference because she's not a player that just does one thing. She's the leader in the locker room. She creates plays. She's a threat out there that makes teams play differently, both in the offensive and defensive zone. So you got teams approaching you a little bit differently. Also, her and Fillier together are quite a threat. But separate, it's tough for Fillier, who's a rookie in this league, to kind of throw her team on her back and carry that load. So that being said, yes, one player can make a difference. However, it is the duty of every other player on that team and the coaching staff to get a little bit extra out of every other player to try and fill those shoes. It doesn't have to be in the exact same way, but you do have to find a way to generate and create offense when your top scorer goes down. Speaking of top scorers going down, not that Spooner was down. She was back. She did not play in Edmonton, but she did play against New York. So welcome back to Spooner as well. She was doing like load management stuff. A term the NBA created, load management. This is crazy. It's funny, but whatever.
Literally Kawhi created in the city that I sit in right now.
He 100% created that term.
Yep. And it worked that year, so obviously it became a thing. But yeah.
And I get it with Spooner. That's a long travel. She's just coming back. Maybe her leg felt a little bit tired. Not sure. Regardless, good for them for protecting her because they do need her on the long run. And you know who else they need in the long run? Miller. Like, holy cripes. Is it ever Miller time in the PWHL or what? 5 straight wins for Toronto. Miller's been unbelievable this entire time. She had 2 goals and 2 assists in this one. Just so casual about it too. Like, her post-game interview was just like so laid back and chill. I'm like, girl, you are crushing it. Like, let's see and hear it. Like, you made her
7 points in her last 2 games, dude. Like,
buddy, it's insane.
So impressive. And you're right, she does make everything look easy. Like, it doesn't look like she's killing herself to do it out there. She just finds space and she gets it done with such ease.
Yeah, Toronto 4-1 win. Big thanks to their power play as well. Toronto's power play is insane. 3 power play goals in this one. They were 3 for 4. 8 straight games with a power play goal. They're 15 for 29 in their last 8 games. That's just over 51%, Julia. Like,
unheard of. Now insane. What the hell? Like, how could a power play be doing that?
You know what? Gosling's got it figured out. She got 2 power play goals in this one. She's a big body in front. Like, they just keep it so simple. I'm going to say it again. They keep it so simple. They don't overthink it. They've just got the equation mapped out and figured out. And it helps when you have players like Miller and Gosling who are catching fire to find the back of the net on the PP. So whoever's in charge of Toronto's power play, I can't remember what coach it is. However, bravo. Kudos to you. Like, holy Hannah. Hannah Miller.
Holy Hannah Miller. It's been really impressive to watch them come together. And you mentioned Julie Gosling there. Like, shout out to her. Slow start at the beginning of the year, but I feel like she's really found her footing in the last couple months here, last month and a half.
Nice to see it. Kid with size and hands and a shot, and she's slowly figuring it out. And sometimes
I was so excited to see her come into the league too. Like, exactly what you said. Like, who's moving Gosling in front of the net?
Not.
Like, you can't. And
I
feel like she's realized that now. Exactly.
Yeah. And like, I always find some of the taller kids, especially growing up, when they first start out, they're a little bit shy about their height, like they're a gentle giant in a sense, until they truly learn to embrace it. Like one of the players I find in the NHL that I found truly embraced their size and utilized it right away was Rick Nash. Like he was always really hard to get the puck off of. He used his body to shield it. Like he wasn't afraid. Like he stood in front and like took a beating. Like it was like in those moments when you see players like that, you're like, yes, you don't have to be a goon or a bully with it, but use it to your advantage. And I feel like Gosling's starting to do that. You know what I mean? That said, Gosling with the 2 power play goals. You want to let him out?
It's okay, Liam's on.
Okay. That said, Gosling with their 2 power play goals. If you look at the power plays that Toronto was put on, New York, it just felt like they're just really having a hard time figuring out what is legal in terms of physical play. Shelton, you know, her penalty put Toronto up 2-0, but like I get where she was coming from, okay? She did a counter hit on a player that was coming in to forecheck her. The puck was along the boards behind the net. And I get that. I understand. I preach you need to counter hit to protect yourself because otherwise you're going to get run through the back wall. Woods was not expecting this counter hit at all and got absolutely smoked. I put some of the blame on Woods in this. However, after talking to a couple people, they're like, well, Ella didn't even really make a move for the puck. She literally just turned around, saw Woods, and decided to plow her and then go get the puck. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But like at the same time, as a former defender, you need to be able to protect yourself. But based on how it's written in the rule book, you have to make a play for the puck. So I guess as a defender in this league, you got to expect to, you know, if the puck's going back, maybe take a wider angle so you don't get run through the back wall as bad. Just know that you're going to get hit. Bourbonnais got one. A penalty as well. Everybody thought it was the cross check in the corner on Watts, but it wasn't. It had actually happened before. It just feels like they were unnecessary penalties, both of them, that kind of, you know, swung the momentum in Toronto's favor. And New York's got to figure it out, man. They're in tough. They need to start finding ways to either win outright or just get points because there's only 12 games left. Like, they've got to buckle this down. They're on a 6-game losing skid, Julia, a losing skid that they only have 1 point in. They've only managed 1 point. So right now they've got 20 points in the standings. They sit in last place, 1 point behind Ottawa, who's in 5th. Boston has 26 points. I mean, the only thing going for them really is that they have 1 game in hand on Ottawa. They have 18 games left. 12 games left. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's a real slide.
Ottawa's got 13 games left. So it's like they don't have many games left. The only teams that have fewer games left are Minnesota and Toronto, and they have 9 points more than New York right now.
Yeah,
so
you heard Julie Stewart say on the broadcast last night, too, that she was talking to Greg Fargo, and Fargo said straight up, like, feels like the group is frustrated right now. I thought last night that having Carpenter back in the mix would really inject something, but it's almost... I don't want to say it's harder, but it's like it's hard when you get her back, she scores, and you still lose 4-1, you know?
I know. It's literally New York should just take a page right out of Minnesota's book and be like, we're not doing this any kind of nice way. I also feel like, too, for whatever reason, just the more and more I watch New York, they've got a lot of talent, but it's a slower team. They just play slow hockey, I find. And maybe that's just out of character right now for them. I'm not sure, but they just seem to not have as much speed or pep as any other team. So, you know, being a slower team, I guess you kind of have to find a way to take control of the game and force another team to play, I don't want to say down to your level, but down to that speed.
Yeah.
Maybe throw them off.
They're going to need to
sure.
find some pep in their step soon here if they're going to want to make a run at this thing the last stretch of the season. It's the beauty of the PWHL. Regulation wins worth 3 points, so things can move really fast. And you know what? I mentioned it to you off camera the other day, but I noticed that the NHL with the Four Nations face-off is going 3 points. They definitely saw the PWHL and how much regular season games matter. And the NHL, I find, is missing some juice in the regular season usually. So definitely adds to it when every regulation win is worth 3 points. All right. Another fun segment that, candidly, you and I are one for honesty on the Jocks and Jills podcast. As you and I were rushing from Edmonton to Calgary and Calgary to Toronto, we forgot about Spicy Tendies. We forgot about Spicy Tendies on Tuesday. So, little treat on a Friday. Spicy Tendies. Here it is. Spicy Tendies is brought to you by Ninja Kitchen. Experience the power of the #1 air fryer brand in Canada. I love you, Ninja Crispy. You make my life complete. And Tessa, who do you want to shout out this week as our Spicy Tendy or Spicy Tendies? Is it a 2-pack? Is it a 3-pack
We're gonna go
of chicken
plural.
tendies?
100%.
Plural.
We're going plural. This week's Spicy Tendies is the duo in Toronto. They carried their team to a 5-game win streak, started back on February 1, 8-game point streak. You got to shut out Kirky and Campbell on just some stellar performances as a duo. You know, a large reason why this team has dug themselves out of the basement in this league. Kirk has made 60 saves in 2 games. Campbell with 39 saves in 2 games. That's 99 saves combined. They're just doing their job and making sure that this team has an opportunity not only to get a win, but to get points. And that is the key in this league, is just to continue to get points. So Spicy Tendies of the week. Here's looking at you, Kirky and Campbell.
Yeah, I feel like we always got to shout out CJ too when we're talking about the Toronto goalie duo, because
For
like
sure.
it's such a trio.
Bringing the heat.
Yeah, they bring the vibes on the bench, in the locker room, on TikTok. Like their TikToks make me laugh. They posted this this video of Reagan Kirk with the top of her gear on, but not the bottom. And like, you know, goalies. The sound
so weird.
CJ used was, "Hey, where's the rest of ya?" And it just made me laugh. So we have to include CJ when we're talking about the Toronto goalie tandem. It's such a trio there, and their vibes are so good. It speaks to the importance of goaltending in this league, Tessa. Like we knew when this league was founded that goaltending, like the margins were going to be so small with who's the best goaltender in the league could beat the worst, quote unquote, worst goaltender in the league every night, because the caliber of the goaltending is so high, and like there's only 6 teams and there's so many good goalies out there. Every team's third goalie could comfortably play in this league, which I just
As
think
a
is so
backup for
crazy.
Sure. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's great. What a good problem to have.
That's what I mean. So like at the beginning of the year when Toronto, it seemed like they were struggling to find their footing, I feel like Kirk and Campbell were having a hard time finding their footing, and that was reflecting so directly on the team. It just speaks to the importance of goaltending, I think, is what I'm trying to get at.
Totally.
And with that, let's continue on. Our interview segment this week is presented by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. This one was fun. Another New York interview. We got to sit down with Maya Nylen Persson at Hotel X. She is such a good little character. She is such a great defender. We've watched her play at the World Championship level for quite a while now. It's insane how long she's been a professional hockey player for. She started in Sweden so long ago, and she dominated there for so long. I always love to talk to the European players. Their path to hockey is different from what you and I know, so it's always cool to get the perspective that you and I didn't get to grow up. Like you and I kind of grew up the same way in Northern Ontario on outdoor rinks and stuff like that. So cool to hear that story from a different perspective. Here is Maya Nylen Persson on the Jocks and Jills podcast.
All right, today on the Jocks and Jills podcast, we are so excited to welcome one of the most exciting young defenders in hockey. It is the one and only from the New York Sirens, Maja Nylen Persson. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for sitting down doing this today.
Yeah, of course.
No problem. So we always on this podcast like to go all the way back to the beginning. And for you, that is Avesta, Sweden. So tell us what it was like growing up there and what your minor hockey experience was like. I'm saying us, like I'm used to my extended friend Tessa being here, so just pretend she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I grew up like in a really small town in Sweden, but it was hockey for me like right from the beginning. Like outside my grandparents' house, we have like a ice rink, so I just have like told stories about me that I wouldn't get off the ice. Like, yeah, I just want to keep going. So that's where all it begins, and then hockey has just like been number one for me. All the way until today. But yeah, I loved it playing in Sweden. Like the league there was like really good, and it made the chance for me to come here over to PWHL. So yeah, I just enjoyed the journey.
Yeah, it's been a great start. Did you have siblings growing up that you'd play hockey with?
My brother plays, so we always have like our dusters like outside our house, like playing on the ground against each other. So yeah, some hard battles against him, I guess.
Those are the toughest battles against
Yeah.
your brother.
Yeah.
You said you're from a really small town in Sweden. I was looking it up to see if there's any former NHL players or anything like that from your town. Not a ton of hockey players from your city. Like, are you the most famous hockey player from your hometown?
No, I think you missed a really, really good one, and that's
Who?
Nicholas Lidström.
Oh, when I looked up Avesta, I didn't say him.
Like a Hall of Famer and
Yeah, of
everything.
course.
Yeah. So for me, like growing up, he was like so huge in our town,
Yeah.
and like always been a role model for me and like all the kids growing up in our town for sure.
Have you met him before?
Yeah, I met him, and he's like super nice, like human being, and you always heard like good things about him, like as a teammate, like so humble outside the rink. So that's something I definitely like look up to.
Awesome. Any other hockey heroes you had growing up that you'd look up to?
Like for sure, my grandpa was always like fixing the ice, like on the ice rink outside. So in the beginning, like he's probably him, and now he's not living anymore. So then my dad just fixed the ice. So yeah, my family has always been like my biggest supporters. So without them, I wouldn't be here. So I have everything to thank them for.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did your grandfather do the ice for the whole city or just the backyard rink?
Like it was a small place, like just just like 100 people living there, kind of. So like all the kids who wanted to come and join was welcomed. So yeah, like a hero in our like area there.
That's so special.
Yeah.
What about minor hockey for you? Did you grow up playing with boys or was there a girls team to play on?
Yeah, so I played with boys until I was 14 because then I switched it to like a women's team and played in that league for like 10 years.
You've been a pro for a while, eh?
Yeah, like the league has developed so much too. So when I was starting, like all the girls were working like 9 to 5, you know what I mean? And then coming to the rink. And when I left the league now, like it was a lot of us not working at all. So I think it was like a big change there. But yeah, playing with the big girls for a while.
Yeah, that's really cool that you got to see that progression. So for our listeners that don't have context, you played the last 8 seasons in the SDHL, which is the highest level of women's professional hockey in Sweden. And you entered that league, to your point, as a pro, as a 14, 15-year-old. What do you remember that being like?
Yeah, like for me, only playing with boys, like I didn't know that much about like women's hockey in Sweden because it wasn't that big at that point. But for me, coming there, like playing more like senior hockey and coming into that when I was that young, I think I learned a lot of it, and I got to play like a lot already from the beginning. So I think that helped so much in my career and like learning from the old girls and then just grow into it. So and I can see my journey. Like I was just a kid when I started, and now when I left, like you can see like such development. So yeah, it was a nice journey.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. What about playing on the internet? Actually, before we get to that, what did a day in your life look like when you were 15 years old playing pro hockey? Like, was it school during the day and then practice at night?
Yeah, actually, so my first 2 years, I was still, I don't know what you say. It's not high school. It's the under where you go before.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years, I lived in my like hometown, and I play with a team that's like 1.5 hour drive.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was in school like 8 to 3, and then I went 1.5 hour like every day to practice with the team for 2 years. So like a lot of studying in the car, like you know what I mean. So actually, I don't know how I could do that now when I look back, because like it's hard. It's just tough like going to the rink every day and like perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the love for the sport was like winning over like all of the things outside. So yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, when the PWHL didn't exist, what was the goal for you ultimately? Was it like the Swedish international team, which of course you're mainstay on? Was it NCAA hockey for you at any point? Like what was the main goal in your mind at that time?
Yeah, so when I started in the SDHL, like for me, the biggest goal was coming to the national team program for sure, and like playing Olympics, World Championship. So I think that was my biggest goals by then.
Yeah. And obviously you had a couple of those goals crossed off pretty early. You got to play U18s when you were 15 years old. That was your first introduction to the national team, right?
Yeah.
What do you remember it being like? Maybe the best. Canadian, it's kind of blasphemous for me to say, but Sweden might have the best of all the national team jerseys. The yellow and the blue is so beautiful. What was it like the first time you got to put that on?
Yeah, such a huge honor for me. Like, and I was still like so young, so I maybe didn't know like how huge it was, but you know,
it's almost a good thing to not know how big it is.
Yeah, like and just go out there and just play your hockey. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's always a special thing to put on the jersey, and I still feel it today. So yeah.
2017 in Plymouth was the first time that you played with the senior national team, though. How do you remember that being different from playing U18s?
Oh wow! Like I haven't before that. I wasn't at any camp. So my first like senior national team game was at Worlds.
Wow! How did that happen?
Yeah, like the coach, he was like, I don't know, he was calling me before, like we had a camp before the Worlds.
Yeah,
and he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like select you for that camp. We'll see. And I wasn't selected. And then we had the playoffs in SDHL, and he watched like our games, and he said like, no, you have been too good to not like be in the team. So, and I didn't expect that since I haven't been like on any camps before, and I was still like so young.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was quite risk of him to bring me, but yeah, there was like a really new thing, and for me coming as a 16 years old, and I always been like this shy girl and like not center of attention person. So yeah, it was hard, but
it's hard not to be the center of attention when you come in so young too.
Yeah, 100%. But I always been so confident in my hockey playing, you know what I mean? So I wasn't nervous about that. It's more like the things around, you know what I mean?
The dressing room's harder than the ice.
Yeah, it's always been there for me, but it worked out good, and I'm so like happy I made a step. So
yeah. Who were the older girls you remember being in that locker room?
It was like Pernilla Winberg. She's coaching Boston now. We had a goalie, Sarah Gran. I play with Johanna Olofsson, and she was my roommate too. So she was kind of like my mom.
Yeah,
that first camp. So appreciate that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot with the Swedish team, though. And just like you said with the SDHL, you got to see it really change from when you entered the league. There was girls with 9-to-5s, and then by the end, lots of them full-time hockey players. I'd imagine you've seen lots of change in the Swedish Federation in your time there. You saw some turmoil. You saw the coach turnover. You saw the letter. You were part of the team when you guys sent a letter to the Federation that was ultimately ignored. You guys are obviously in a better place now. Can you talk us through some of those hardships and what those ups and downs were like for you as a group and how it affected what happened on the ice?
Yeah, like it's been a long journey. I've been there for like 8 years or something.
Yeah, so crazy because you're so young.
Yeah, and it's been like a lot of ups and downs. I think we had like different coaches. So I think when we got our coach we have now, Ulf, I think our new journey like started, and I feel like we've grown. Like all of us who's been there, like we sent a letter. We just want it better for us, like outside the rink, so we can just perform better. And I think since the new coach come in, like we have a new, like everyone is on the same page.
New culture?
Yeah, kind of, and how we work together. And I feel like it's more all of those who's working in the Swedish Federation, like they want more for us, and I love to see that that development. And I think like we have so much talent coming up now, so much like young Swedish girls that they're so good. So I just see the future is bright for us. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you think the future looks like for Swedish hockey?
Yeah, so right now in the team, like I think we have a lot of girls that born like 2005, 2004.
It's crazy how many good players are coming up
2006, and a lot of players taking the step to NCAA and stuff. So I think that's good for them, and for us as a team together. Like everyone makes sure, because so much talent, but you need to like take care of that talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like do every day like what you're good at and try to develop yourself, because then we're gonna be better as a team too. So yeah, I feel like we have something going on.
Yeah, it's a special time, it feels like, to your
Yeah.
point. So many great young players
Yeah.
coming up. In 2021, you were awarding the Salming Trophy, Best Defender in Sweden. What was it like to receive that award, which is named after, like we talked about Nick Lidstrom already, and then to receive an award named after such a Finnish legend? What was that like?
Yeah, like for me, I wasn't expecting it at all. But since that trophy is heading out to the best like Swedish defender, like female and male.
Period.
Yeah, so it was no like woman who got it before. So that was why I was so surprised, and getting it while Börje was still alive. That's like a huge honor, and he's such a legend for Swedish hockey. Like coming over to NHL and make like get respect for the Swedes like
first
over
one, yeah.
here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And just when you take it in, it's like really huge. Yeah.
Did you actually get to get it from him? Like, did he hand it out?
No,
Okay.
I just got like an explanation why I got it, but that's enough for me. Like, yeah.
So you've had a really illustrious career so far. You have a lot of awards on your DB page. Would that be the most meaningful one to you so far that you've received in your career, or is there another one that stands out?
I don't know. I haven't think about it, because in the end, like I didn't win like the gold with the team that I've been for like the last 5 years. So it's hard to think about the individuals when we were so close to winning that gold with my team Brynäs.
Yeah.
And we worked so hard for it like every year, and we were so close. So I don't know, that's always gonna be like a hole like in my heart, since that organization is like a family to me. So yeah.
You were back-to-back Defender of the Year 2 times in that league, playing for that team. So many amazing defenders in that league, and you were the best one 2 years in a row. That team was like a family to you. How did they help you develop into the player you are now?
It's so many different people, but when I got there, it was like a new journey for them, and they have like a 3-year plan for us, kind of. And on the 3rd year, we were supposed to win the gold. But I was there 5 years, and
I could tell it's bothering you that you didn't get that done.
100%. Like we had like a best of 5 series against another team, and then we played that 5th game in front of the sold out arena, and everything was like in place. It was meant to be, and we didn't win that game. So I always said like it's the best and worst memory for me. But yeah, like I always had really good coaches there who helped like with whatever you wanted, like if it's off ice, on ice, details, everything. And also like really good teammates. Like, you know, when you come to the rink, you want to get challenged by your teammates and also have a good time and have so those years means everything to me, and that's why I'm here now.
Yeah. So what was your mindset when you decided ultimately, listen, I want to make a go at the PWHL? And what was the draft process like as a European player?
Yeah, so obviously I followed the league last year and watched a lot of the games, and I think the league like got better the longer the season went, and like the game too. But when you see like all of the best players playing here, and for me it's always been like I want to be the best version of myself, and for me I think this step was like naturally. I've been in SDHL for a long time, like we talked about, and yeah, like such an honor to just play against and with the best players in the world. So when I got drafted by New York, that was like a dream coming true for sure. And yeah, I feel like everything fall into place now.
Yeah. What were your expectations going into the draft? You ended up going 10th overall to New York. Did you have any expectations?
Not really. Like I talked with a few of the teams and so on, but I just had a call with New York like a couple of hours before the draft. And then I got the feeling like, okay, they're probably gonna pick me. So, but I don't know like how high and everything. So it was just a surprise to hearing your name like so high. So it was just a fun experience.
I forget. Were you there? No, you stayed home.
No, I was home.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were watching like a live stream with your fam?
Like I was awake. Like for us, it was like 2 a.m. on the night. But no, it was not hard to stay awake for sure.
Was your whole family with you?
No, they live in another town, but I had them on FaceTime. So yeah, we got the like message like at the same time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So then you get to start the season with your SDHL team, right? Did that make it harder to leave almost, or what was the feeling like?
I always I knew I was going, so for me it just was an extra opportunity to get even more prepared for my new adventure here in PW. So I was just grateful for them like taking the chance to have me for a couple of games, and I always enjoy my time there. So I was just thankful for it.
Yeah. Do you have former teammates reach out a lot about what it's like to be in the PWHL and what the transition might be like for them?
Yeah, 100%. Like my Swedish girls, I talk with them a lot, my former teammates for sure. And I wonder how it's going for them too, of course, since my old team. But yeah, they're curious about details you don't see like on the ice. So yeah.
So let's talk about like New York City and what it's like to live in New York. Not only do you move continents for the first time in your entire life, you've been to North America enough, obviously playing hockey, but not fully living capacity. And you move to the center of the universe in New York after coming from a famously like sweet and clean and friendly country in Sweden. So what has the transition been like to New York?
Yeah, so we don't live like in New York City for sure. We live in New Jersey, but no, I think it was the first week. So the girls on the team like Abby Brooke and Jesse Eldridge.
I have to say, Abby Rock was saying you guys are traveling as a pack.
Yeah. So they were like, oh, we need to show our new girls like the city and everything. And we was like, yeah, so pumped for it. But I think the first night was like so overwhelming. Like we were just in one area of the city and we were like, this is too much for us. Like me and Nora was looking at each other like, oh my God, where are we? But you know, I've been there a couple of times now and my family come to visit like a couple of weeks ago. So I had to be their like tour guide. So I think that was developed for me too. But you're learning, and yeah, it's like for me who likes to do shopping and stuff, so that's nice. Like and we just have, it takes like 20 minutes train to go into the city from where we live, so that's perfect.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what have been I guess New York aside, because that's a crazy part of the world, what have been the adjustments for you just living in North America? Like what do you miss from home?
I would say my like everyday life kind of looks the same since I was a pro in Sweden too. So you go to the rink, like do your thing, be with your teammates and everything. But then it's been like a lot of with paperwork and stuff, you know. So that's not what I'm used to. But I think the everyday life is the same. So not that of a big change, I would say.
What about the food?
Yeah, I can miss Swedish food sometimes, but actually we get like really good food to the rink and everything, so it hasn't been a problem.
Okay, I was wondering if you were like going up the QEW to hit IKEA or something like that.
No, I
Swedish meatballs, but I might be generalizing there.
Yeah, like I don't really like the IKEA food, if I'm gonna be honest.
It's probably bad. I'm Italian. That's like somebody saying Olive Garden to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I did that. It's not good.
Like it's a bad version of it.
Yeah. I understand. I shouldn't make generalizations like that. The other thing that I guess would be really different from the SDHL to the PWHL is the level of physicality. How much did you think about that? You play kind of a physical style of game. Did you think about that much before you came over?
Actually, so in Sweden, the last 2 years, we had this hitting rule. So we were like allowed to hit. I think that helped me a lot coming over and just like adjust to the physical play like here too. Because it's a lot of timing and, how to take a hit, how to give a hit. So you need to learn that. And I think I learned that the past couple of years in Sweden. So for me, it was like pretty easy adjustment, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. And what about the speed of the game? Like, how have you found it thus far?
Yeah, like the speed here, it's a big difference, I would say, from the Swedish league, and probably the biggest difference, I would say. Like everything goes much faster, and you need to take like decisions much faster. You don't have that much time with the puck, but it's all developing, so I really enjoy it.
Cool. Is there anyone on your team on New York that you were really excited to play with, who you've maybe played against internationally, that you were, once you saw them on the roster, you were excited about?
If I'm gonna be honest, like for me, just only play like against Canada and US at Worlds. Like I don't have that so much. I don't know the players like that much since you don't play so much against them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So actually, I didn't know like so many players how they were on the team, but when you see them day to day, like a lot of my teammates is so skilled, and yeah, just really enjoy to be challenged by them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get, like, New York is awesome this year. Obviously, they didn't have the same season last year. What did the girls from last year talk about in terms of differences year 1 to year 2?
Obviously, we have like a new coaching staff and everything, and I think that makes a big difference, but it's hard to me like to compare since I wasn't here last year. But all of the girls saying like, and we have like a new locker room, like a new area, like we play in Prudential, new setup with everything, and the girls saying like it's much better this year. So I think it's a step in the right direction for New York as an organization. So I'm really happy for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll end it on this, I guess. It's been so great to see your team flourish. As a group, the goal is always to win every year. You left your old team so close to that championship in a league. How much of the conversation in the room this year is potentially capturing that Walter Cup at the end of the season?
Yeah, so obviously I think it's every team's goal to achieve, and I think we have a championship team in that locker room, so it's up to us, like what are you doing day by day, and what are we doing as a team, like how do we get better as a team, getting closer to each other, making each other trust each other. That's how you build like great groups and trust on the ice too. So I think it's up to us because we have the potential, and just work from there, I guess.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see it. Enjoy the rest of the season. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
And again, that interview was presented by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. Thank you very much, Maya. Thank you, Hannah, from New York, for setting up those chats. As always, we love sitting down with the girls. It's so nice when we can sit down with the girls in person. Now, Tessa, this is one that we've been enjoying lately. Let's get to our FanDuel Friday 5. A quiet Friday night in the PWHL and in hockey in general. Like, it's going to be silent. And then we get to Montreal, Ottawa Saturday. Montreal's minus 152 on the money line. Anytime goal scorers that stand out to you in this game?
Yeah,
I can
100%. Anytime goal scorer, I'm throwing money on Michaela Grant-Mentis. Absolutely. You're silly if you don't. She openly says, I have a massive chip on my shoulder when I play this team. There's nothing more I want to do than score and beat them. Michaela Grant-Mentis, throw your money on her. The over-under is at 4.5. I'll take over on this one.
Oh, that's such a good call. Michaela Grant-Mentis, plus 500 to score versus Montreal. Versus the Ottawa Charge. Like that one.
Yep.
I'm going to pick Rebecca Leslie as mine.
Ooh.
I like the idea of a local Ottawa girl scoring at home, and plus 1,700 odds if you throw a sprinkle on Rebecca Leslie there. So I like those, and I like the idea of a hometown girl scoring on home ice.
Totes my
Are you
goats.
comfortable picking a winner in that game? Montreal, Ottawa?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Montreal in this game, but it's going to be close, and that's why I picked the over at 4.5. So I feel like, Ottawa's probably a little bit rattled in a sense that they're travel home from Edmonton. I don't even know if they are home yet.
Guys, we didn't even
Did they
talk
make
about
it?
that. Like, we were
Did they
complaining
drive?
so hard about our travel. The poor Ottawa freaking Charge was an hour away from landing
Montreal.
in Montreal when they were diverted back to Edmonton and had to stay another night in Edmonton. They ended up practicing in Edmonton yesterday, and I think that they're finally making their way home. I think they were on like 11 or 12 different flights on Wednesday, so they finally should be home at the time that we record this on Thursday. But yeah, Ottawa has a good little homestand now, and they deserve it, because I meant to mention that when we were talking about Ottawa. What a hellish travel situation for them trying to get in and out of Edmonton. And they got into Edmonton at like 5 a.m. too, so shout out to them for powering through what was not an ideal travel situation at all.
No. And if anything's gonna, chap your ass, I think that'll be it. They're gonna come out real crusty. Like, watch out. And look, Montreal's gonna come out flying too, because they're for sure pissed off about that 4-0 loss. Like, they got shut out on home ice. They're not happy.
Yeah.
They're gonna avenge that. And unfortunately for Ottawa, I feel like it might be them.
Yeah. No odds available yet for Boston, New York on Sunday, or Toronto, Minnesota on Sunday. Keep your eyes on the FanDuel app if you're looking for odds, anytime goal scorers, pretty much anything on the FanDuel app you can bet on in the PWHL. Who are you thinking has the edge in those two games, Tess?
In which game? Sorry, the other
Boston,
two that we don't
New York,
have odds
Toronto,
on yet?
Minnesota. Yeah, Sunday.
So I feel like Boston, New York. I'm going to take Boston in this one, even though New York's got Carp back. I just feel like Boston is playing the right way. I know New York's going to be, Carp in particular, is going to be upset about that loss to Toronto, but I don't know that they've got the gumption yet. I hope they prove me wrong. I want to see a really good game between these two.
Yeah.
But man, that's tough sledding for New York. I don't think they find it yet, so I'm going to pick Boston on that one. And the other one, the Toronto-Minnesota game. This one's going to be a bloodbath. I feel this is going to be fast hockey. This is what I've got to say, because Minnesota's got that win under their belt against Montreal, so they're coming with a ton of confidence. New York's coming off a pretty good win in New York. Toronto, is coming off a pretty big win in New York, but they're on the road. I like the matchup between these two teams, and I know it stems back to last year's playoffs, but I just like the way they match up. It makes for some really fast, fun hockey with kind of like a little bit of a chippy edge,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call tie on this one. This one's gonna go extra frames.
I like the idea of throwing an overtime bet on Toronto, Minnesota. It feels safe. That wraps it up for us. It's Thursday at the time we're recording this, Tess. What are you doing for the men's Canada-USA game tonight? Are you feeling very patriotic about it?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Anytime Canada-USA play, I get fired up.
This feels heightened, dude. Like, I'm ready to kick an American
door down
today.
Oh, you are?
I don't know.
Do you have any American friends? Run.
No, I don't mean it. I'm ready to kick like one American, and he's orange and rude.
Right. You know what? I love that. So the fire between I've mentioned this before, and it might have even been on our pod, but the fire between the men's teams right now is exactly what the women had when I played. It was that. There was it was spiteful, it was hateful, it was like no love lost, like you don't give a crap, you're going in the corner with your elbows high and you're sticking them in the back of the knee when they go to skate away. Like, that's what it was. It was angry hockey. Like, I am not losing to you. Sorry, I don't like you or your country. And I played against my D partner from Ohio State, and we weren't nice because you're not.
I feel like we're
gonna
get back to that in women's hockey with
we have to,
with the rivalry series going away, and with more emphasis being on the PWHL than on the international teams.
It'll fizzle out because there's going to be a lot of women that made the PWHL happen. Some of the older ladies that banded together and made this happen, they all became pals. This is what ruined it. I'm being serious.
You're right.
They became really good friends, and they started liking each other, and they worked together, and they succeeded, and they got this league done. And so, I get it. You guys did something amazing together. You were a team. They all were a team. Like, Canada, USA players were essentially a team, and they won. They got this league, right? And then they're all bought in together as a team with the PWHLPA to make this league work and everything. The only person that brings that spite and that fire is who, Julia? Abby Murphy. Abby Murphy is the one she's gonna lead the charge in this. And like, you know what? I'm slapping a letter on that kid's jersey if I'm a USA coach, because listen, we need you to bring that fire all the time to bring this back, because we are not friends with any of them. Don't care if you're teammates. Don't care if you're dating. You're out there and you're taking it to them. And Abby Murphy leads that charge. I want her to bring it back. I hope the rest of Team USA just buys into that too. And I hope Canada finds someone who's got a little bit of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the men,
honestly, I agree.
and you know what? Hopefully the men's side inspires it.
That's
Good.
what I was going to
'Cause
say.
usually
Like,
it
I feel
does.
like there's going to be so much hate going into Milan that it will permeate into the women's side. There's political tensions
too.
right now. Like, I think that going into Milan, it will be heat. I am so
Needs
excited
to
for
be
the
back.
2026 Olympics.
Because-
hatred is so back, baby.
Buddy, listen, I want to know how much we didn't like each other back in 2010 when in the gold medal game, when we were walking all the way down the hall to walk out. The U.S. men's team weren't even on their side, high-fiving their players, wishing them good luck. They were literally toes touching the rubber carpet on us, chirping us as we were walking out, like, you guys are going to lose in front of your home fans. You nervous? Like, they
Really?
were getting in I remember being like,
Who do you remember specifically? Like, who was on that team? Can you
I
remember
can't-
any of those muckies yelling at you? We should send
oh
them hate
man,
mail.
I wish I could. I don't really, to be honest, I don't remember. Like, I remember some specific things that I remember the players doing it, and like I remember I could hear some people say what, and I walked around the corner and I saw them, and I looked back at Augusta because her and I were always the last two going out, and I was like, can you believe this? And then we turned to the corner to go out onto the bench, and all of our guys were lined down our hallway like Taves and the boys, and I was like, this is what those guys should be doing. Like, you missed the boat. Anyways,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I wish I did, but like.
Okay, well maybe
No, I
that
laughed a little,
should be
but
my
I was
lesson
just
of the
like-
day. Canadians take the high road and come out victorious, and that's always our MO. I shouldn't say we should kick an American. That's
No,
in poor
but
taste,
listen,
Julia.
that is what needs to come back. That
You're right.
both the men's side and the women's side, like just barking at each other.
You're
That's
right.
What
What are you
need.
doing for the game tonight? I'm definitely
I
ordering
will-
pizza with free delivery.
100%, absolutely. And my butt will be on my couch. Hopefully, my kids will be asleep.
Nice.
We all
It's a
know
good
Annie
time
won't
for you.
be. Yeah.
That's been super annoying about this tournament too. The game, like they say it starts at 8 and they drop the puck at 8:35. Like, so
Yeah.
annoying. But so annoying for people like me who like to go to bed at 10:30. Anyways,
Well, they say 8, so you tune into the pregame. They get you with that. They trick you.
I know,
They fool
but
you.
usually-
Julie, you
I
should
know,
know
but
that.
when
We
it's
worked in
league-
TV.
I know, but with league timing, usually like you have to drop the puck at 08 and then you get only 8 minutes on camera. I don't want it till 25.
Right, but it's the networks that fool you and say, hey, that game, we're going to start it at 8 o'clock, but it's not the game that's starting, it's the pregame.
No, dude, they have the game. I think the difference with this tournament is they have there's no actual rules, so they don't have to drop the puck on time. They have the game listed
Right.
as starting at 8 o'clock, but they've been dropping the puck at 8:35. Usually, if you have the game listed at 8 o'clock, you have to drop the puck by 08.
07, yeah.
Yeah, or
Interesting.
whatever. So they're making this up as they go along, and good for them. I think that they should let all the good players play, by the way. Anyways, by the time you guys hear this, there will be a winner in those games, and maybe we sound like Canadian idiots. Time will tell. Thank you to our sponsors in the meantime. Shark Ninja, Pizza, CCM, Royale. We appreciate you supporting Jocks and Jills. We appreciate you all listening, supporting Jocks and Jills. Follow us on social media, YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. We are almost at 300 followers. And follow us on Blue Sky too. I think we're at like 150 followers there. I'm kind of figuring out how to use Blue Sky, so bear with me while I do, and let me know what you guys want to see there. We love you all, and we will talk to you Tuesday.